Hello guys, not sure if you guys are able to hear me now. Let me check with my team. Keyur, hi Keyur. Are you able to hear me? Hi Parth, are you able to hear me? Just say yes or maybe just a thumbs up. Hello Ashok ji, कैसे हैं आप? Nice to have you on the call. Hi Namrata, how are you? All right, so I'm just checking with my team if I'm online at the right place. Okay, so I got a response from my team and they can hear me loud and clear. So let me just start by saying that I faced a technical challenge, and guess what? I am not using my laptop to come online because my camera somehow decided to not come on my laptop, and I had to really think hard on how to get online quickly and be able to communicate with all of you guys as promised. So right now I'm live on, and I'm using my cell phone to get live. And you know what, it's working it's working beautifully. I can see your comments popping up on my screen, which I could not see on the laptop. The moral of the story is that we are all in a scenario where we are getting challenged every second moment with every update that the government is giving us, with every lockdown extension or not extension, and all the news coming to us. We really have to think very, very quickly and adopt to that change. The same thing happened right now. While this is a very small example, but I guess it helps drive the point. You have to be very quick and not drop the ball. You have to keep going. Yes, Sunilji, yes, nothing can stop. No, it's not only me. Nothing can stop all of us in this group, because all of us are people who believe in action, which is one of the reasons why you guys are here on this group in the first place. So thumbs up to all of you guys. Say thumbs up to your own self by, thumbs up there on the video. So I got a few questions from a few people amongst you, and I would like to answer those few questions. Again, like I did in the last session, I am not going to be able to answer all of them, but I will try and answer as I go ahead. So I'll try and answer as many as I can. So the first question that I'm going to take up is from Miss Lopa Mudra, and she is asking this question from Bhubaneswar. So she has a retail salon, is what I understand, and her question is, how can we increase the business once we open, and what are the precautions we have to take? So the question number one is, first thing that I want to tell you is, it's a right thing that you're doing by thinking right now what is it that you need to do when the lockdown is over. Because when the lockdown really is over, if you start thinking that time, you're going to be late. The second thing that I want to tell you guys is, I'm not trying to scare you by saying this, but you got to really estimate how much time will it take for your business to bounce back. And that depends on the kind of business that you are in. So a business like a salon, or a business like a retail shop, or a business like a cake shop, or somebody who's into selling garments, these businesses are not going to jump back very quickly. Imagine this. Multiple reasons. If once the lockdown is over, are all of us going to go out there and shop in Zara? We are not going to do that. We are going to all try and fill up the dent that has happened in our business, in our finances. And once that is taken care of, we are going to go and do the spending of the so-called non-essential products. So you will have that kind of curve that is going to happen, and you got to prepare for that. Now, how are you going to prepare for that? I'll come to that in a bit. The second thing that is going to happen is, anybody who's supplying to these guys, to retail shops or to businesses of this kind, which are going to take time to recover and come back, even after the lockdown is lifted, you guys will also have a trouble. Why? Because unless your retailers exhaust and are able to sell all the stock that they currently have, they are not going to buy the new one. So there is going to be that lag period. Now, during that lag period, what is it that you do is the question. And how do you jump back to where you were? So the first thing first, and I think there was a conversation that I had today, and which I even uploaded on the group. So go look at that video. While the question is very basic, you may have the same question in your mind also, which is, what do I do today? A lot of people are trying to sell right now as there is a lockdown. Don't try and do that unless your service or your product is something that people can use right now. Don't try and sell it. So if you're trying to sell, let's say for example, you're trying to get I have a water bottle here, so I'm thinking of that. If you're trying to sell water bottles, if you're a plastic manufacturer trying to get orders for water bottle, it's not going to happen. So the more you try to sell and squeeze your product in, the more people are going to get irritated and they're going to go away from you, unless you're selling something that is the need of the hour. So what are the things that are the need of the hour? The need of the hour is anything which is in medical, any medical equipments that are there, you can go about selling them. Any service, like luckily I can still sell online training, but I can't hard sell it. Now, when I say online trainings, why? Because people are at home, you can sell it. If you're into any kind of entertainment aspects, you definitely go ahead and sell it. If you're a healer, definitely go ahead and sell it. If you're a social media guy, definitely go ahead and sell it. But any service which is not going to be useful at this point, you cannot sell it. So what is it that you need to do during this time is you got to really think what your business is made up of, and you have some typical skills because of which your business is working. Like for example, I was talking to somebody who's into events yesterday, and obviously the events are not happening. So when I was thinking for that person, I realized that event management company has tremendous project management skills. So why can't that person think of deviating for a while into some kind of project management services to handle this epidemic? Go approach hospitals, go approach government institutions, go approach people who have tremendous amount of orders, but they don't know how to manage it. I think those guys can play a role in that scenario. I would not want to call this an event, but understand this, when our CM was announcing, and there is a document that has been released on how India managed one of the areas in which were like the hotspot of COVID-19, and I guess that is becoming like a standard operating procedure that's going to be implemented once the lockdown is partially lifted. I'm 100% sure it's not happening full-fledged, and it was never going to happen. So that is an SOP. What is that? That is project management. You guys who have brilliant project management skills are in need. See if you can go and capitalize on that front. People who do not have such skills, like for example in this case Lopamudra is saying she has a salon. Now you are into beauty services, right? You're into services of making somebody look really good. Looking good is something that can help you manage stress. So don't go behind only saying looking good. You'd probably want to start making videos to help people still stay well. Like for example, shave. Just because you're at home, don't not shave. Because if you don't shave, you don't take bath, you're in your Bermudas, yes, that can happen. And you sit down for work for home, you're never going to feel like you're working. So maybe that's an area where you could start talking. It's very easy to do videos. If you want, I will put a tutorial on how to easily create these videos. If you want it, put thumbs up, and so that I know that people want it, and I will do a video on that. So what I would suggest, Lopamudra, is you got to currently engage with your clientele. Engage with them. engage with the ladies that come to you. I'm assuming it's a ladies beauty parlor, but engage with those ladies and showcase your expertise of still staying well groomed while you're in the lockdown. And I'm sure there are a lot of ladies out there who require beauty services right now, but there are no beauty parlors open there. So if you could tell them how to take care of self hygiene and whatever treatments that are there at home using the materials that are there at home. Now I don't know what that could be, you are an expert. Start doing that. When you have enough followers who are understanding that and who are looking at that, eventually when the lockdown is over, they will come to you for the expertise that you've showcased to them. I would shorten this task and say that this is a time to seduce your prospect. When I say seduce your prospect, make them aware what you have got and why are you so good at no price. I'm doing the same thing right now in a way. You do the same thing. And once that happens, after the lockdown, you will have some business, is what I'm assuming. Of course, you're going to go through that curve. You cannot cut that curve at all. The second thing that you asked is what precautions we need to take. Well, for that, we need a detailed discussion. So I would invite you to drop in a message on the phone number that was there in one of the posts. In fact, 2 posts that I've done. Let's have a coaching session to understand how much of hand touching happens and what is it that you could do in your premise to keep sanitized, to keep safe. I won't be able to answer that question in detail right now. The second question that I have is from Mr. Nayan Jagani, and he writes, how to recover old dues prior to COVID-19. And he also has mentioned crude oil prices crisis is happening. Any deferred payment from them will bring a big blow. They are multinationals. I need some guidelines from you. I'm talking to senior people. They themselves are worrying about their jobs. So yes, now that is the problem that we are in. Honestly speaking, you can only do so much in terms of collections activity right now. And that's the fact of the life. I cannot, there is no magic pill that I can provide you, Nayan. So I'm sorry for that. What you can do instead is think of avenues where you can go about selling your products, once the lockdown is lifted, so that you can be good at bringing and bridging that dent that you create during the lockdown and because of the potential bad debts or cash flow debts that happen in your company. Invest your time in the area which will get you fruits and forget about, I know it's very difficult. You may have large amounts of outstanding, but this is a stage where even if you put efforts in that area, you're not going to end up getting anything. So might as well put your efforts in thinking through building an enterprise, identifying avenues where you can earn money once the lockdown is lifted. Get ready to operate in the partial lockdown situation also. Invest your time in figuring that out. And if you're able to figure that out, I'm sure you are going to be able to come out of the current situation, and you'll be able to better manage your cash flow if you figure out where to earn instead of trying to think, where do I collect from? So that's what I would suggest. Having said that, should you have a collections plan? Yes, you must have a collection plan post COVID-19. You can start doing that. And here's what I would recommend. Number 1, there are invoices that you need to age, which means you got to figure out and say 0 to 30 days invoices, 31 to 60 days invoices, 90 days invoices, 90 plus days invoices, and stuff like that. Now, once you do this, focus on the bucket that's nearest, which means now obviously you will have invoices which are 30 plus days or 60 plus days. So focus on those invoices first. Anything that is beyond 90 days and it's still outstanding, or beyond 120 days and it's still outstanding, simply take the ledgers out, send it to your clients, and then collect on the email once you have the confirmation that the ledgers match. Because this is what happens to unfortunately happens to Indians, and I'm saying Indians at the cost of sounding like a Firang who does not like the country. I love my country, but I have to say this. It's unfortunate that all of us as enterprises are living and breeding in that culture where we say, if somebody was to ask us for payments, we would say, hey, you know what, I cannot pay you right now, I have a cash crunch, even if we don't. And that's a real bad, very, very bad scenario, that culture rather say, that we live in. So any invoice that is old, people are definitely going to come back and tell you, hey, you know what, Nayan, the amounts don't match, why don't you send me a ledger? Of all you know, 40 to 50% of them must just be buying time from you by asking you a ledger. So might as well be proactive, send them the ledger first, don't do the collection call, tell them the ledger, then do the collection calls. Focus on the invoices which are near to the current time, so 60 plus or 30 plus, those brackets invoices is what you can focus on, because they are recent. There are very less chances that to be asking for ledgers for that. They will remember the orders, and you possibly would get your collections happening faster. That's how you prioritize your collections. Go for the big chunks, go for the small chunks, or go for the medium chunks. My suggestion is go for the smaller chunks first, because in a scenario where everything is cash crunch, people won't mind paying you smaller money amounts simply to avoid your call, but big amounts people will hesitate to pay. So go for smaller amounts, go for invoices which are 30 plus, 60 plus, but post lockdown. Until the lockdown is there, I would suggest strongly focus on thinking, where will your business earn money post lockdown? And that's what you've got to be doing. In fact, I also spoke to a few of my friends on this topic, on figuring out where you are going to get money from. And a lot of people told me this, that hey, you know what, things are, why would anything change? Mere market mein koi taklif nahi hogi. Well, let me tell you, things are going to change, whether you like it or you don't. If you are somebody who's still not adopting to the situation, if you are somebody who's still saying no to any possible change, you are going to be in problem. Trust me on that. Every scenario like this that has ever happened in the history of the world, this obviously coronavirus has never happened, but every time there has been a problem in the world, you take World War I scenario, you take World War II scenario, Six Sigma was born when Japan was absolutely destroyed. Which means what? Six Sigma is something that I am qualified on. That's the foundation of my business. That was born when there was tremendous amount of crisis. I was invited to Aurangabad. I must tell you this. I was invited to Aurangabad CII a couple of years ago, and Maruti Udyog global CEO, he's a Japanese guy, he was present there, and he was asked this, that he was saying throughout the session that India is beautiful, you guys are very frugal minded means jugadu. So you guys are very intelligent, the whole world is using the intelligence of the Indians, so you guys are fantastic. And how is it that all the good things that he could say? And somebody asked him, sir, if all of us are so good, then why are we not so process centric and systematic as Japan is? And his answer was brilliant. He said, because you have an option. We all trade by options. We have an option to be lethargic, because even if we do nothing, business still comes. No, that is why this golden statement of chal raha hai na, that comes from that even if I don't do anything, I am going to get enough, as much as I want. So there is no need for us to get disciplined, but that's changing, my friend. Every scenario that happens like this, you are going to have new leaders born, you are going to have new technologies come up, you are going to have new services come up, and if you don't change, somebody else is going to overtake you. I often used to give this example in some of the trainings that I had done in my FX career a few years ago. I always used to give that example, that if you think that online is not something that is going to hit your business, do you know what OLX is all about? OLX is what? OLX is a bhangar wala. If internet can hit a bhangar wala ka business, why can't it hit your business? Why can't technology take over your business? Why can't smart business owners who are now going to be born and can take over your business? It can definitely happen, my people. So I would strongly suggest, think of what and how your business is going to shape up in the post-lockdown era. Now, post lockdown era, how do you think? Talk to your customers, understand how they are looking at it, what is their situation, and then align your business offering to what your customers' new requirements are going to be. Some of the products will not be required at all. Diversify. You have to change to survive. That's what I would recommend. Then is Pranav from Win Advisors. This is a consulting company. They write, economic challenge will be huge and we need to cut down on our invoice. How to cut corresponding cost? Okay, now this is a very, very interesting question. Yes, we are going to have customers who are going to go out of business. If they go out of business, we will not be able to get the same kind of money all the time. But here's the typical thing that happens on cost cutting. People look at the big cost, people see, okay, this is not required, and they start cutting cost. That's a very raw, rudimentary way of cost cutting. That's not the right way of cost cutting. You got to think of, so for example, if somebody was to go and buy a software, they would say, okay, you know what, I don't want to do software. I will still do work on the chopadas that I have. I'll still send chittis to my people. I will call up 100,000 calls that I will make during the day, and I will talk to people. And I don't want to invest right now in doing that. That's a wrong thing to do. That's an absolutely wrong thing to do. You got to invest in things that can increase your efficiency, which means if you require 2 people to do the task, if you can do that task by investing into something by 1 person, you must go ahead and do that. That investment is eventually increasing your efficiency, which means cost cutting. Don't cut the branch that you're sitting on. You will only fall down. That is stupid to do. So when you do cost cutting, go about doing cost cutting in that way. Now, how would you know where to cut cost, where to not cut cost? I would say forget about cost cutting as a word itself. Think of what is it that your customer would need post lockdown. Create an offer based on what your customer's new requirements are, and think how can you make sure that you deliver that offer in the most brilliant way, in the most efficient way to all your customers and people who are like your customers. How can you acquire a large chunk of market with that new offer? Think of that. If you think of earning, you will earn. If you think of cutting, you will burn. Take this in your mind. Don't think of cost cutting. Think of figuring out how to go ahead. Look, for a lot of time, for a long time, I thought of only survival as a business. I have a story to say. I'm not going to say that right now, maybe some other time. If you'd like to hear that story, please put a thumbs up and I will make another video and tell you. I have been a victim of my thought process. For a long time, I just thought survival. And you know what the result was? Survival. I just survived. I never grew my business. Then I got slapped by an instance that happened. And I realized because I was doing what I was doing, somebody else was making more money. That's when I started taking the so-called risk. I would not say risk. I would say opportunity identification and going behind it. Now, so don't think cost cutting. Think of making the business right to survive and grow in the right environment. He's saying not able to access all data, no meetings with clients. Yes, no meetings with clients. Why? Because right now you are you're calling the client probably, and I'm assuming, I'm sorry, but you're probably calling the client to ask, where is my money? You're probably calling the client to ask, are you going to buy more? Don't do that. Because if I was to call you and if you were my client, you are not going to like that. If I was to call you and say, hey, how are you doing? You would love that, right? How can I help you? You would love that, right? So right now is the time to call your clients and, do how are you calls, hashtag how are you. You know what? This brings an idea to me. Why don't all of you guys do how are you calls with your clients, record those calls and put it up on the group. Share, be a leader, share it with everybody in the group. Let everybody know how you do your hashtag, how are you calls, and hashtag it, how are you calls. Put your recording there. We would like to see how well you do it. And if whatever you do, you are going to be helping all of us do it. We can we can assist with facilitating access to data with some assumptions. Ashok ji, I will get in touch with you to understand that better. But if there's something like this that can happen and make us do things better, by all means. There is a post that I mentioned in the group which said, how can we learn from you? So please mention it there, and I would love to talk to you and take it forward. I am absolutely 100% committed to this group at zero cost. If you want to talk to me, please talk to me. I'm more than happy to talk to you, give you ideas specifically, exclusively for your business right now. I'm in a lockdown, I'm sitting at home. This is what I love doing, and I'm on for you. I'm all service for you. So if you want to talk to me, come talk to me. Ashok ji, I will definitely call you and understand what you mean by what you just said. And if that service is useful for our people here in the group, I will articulate that on your behalf. Maybe have you on a call like this and do it. So that's my advice to Pranav. Pranav, don't think on cost cutting, think positive, realign, reorganize your business in a way that it is something that is offered to people that people really want. Organize your business in that way so that people buy your service, and there is no need for you to cost cutting. Positive thinking is what you are going to need. Then we have Mr. Ashok. I think, this is Ashok ji, aap hi ho, you are on the line. So how can I use this wonderful boon of hassle-less free time granted in investing towards scaling our business to the next level of growth, so my team performs better, efficiently, and works smoothly like a well-oiled machine, not self-sustainably but also expanding? This is a fantastic question, and Ashok ji, you are in the right direction. This is exactly what we need to do. This is a time to think through our business. See, the situation is tough, and this tough situation always exposes, hear me out, always exposes all the weak links. If your relationship is weak, you're going to stay with that relationship in the lockdown. It's going to expose itself. The weakness is going to come out. I'm not talking about memes. I'm talking about real relations. If your team is weak, it's going to show up. People are not going to work. If your leadership is weak, it's going to show up. You are not going to come up with any thoughts. You are not going to be able to direct your team. See, on and off, going, becoming sad, becoming angry, all of that is going to happen. It happens to me also. But this is going to show the weakness of your leadership. This is going to bring about the weaknesses of your business model. And this is the right time to acknowledge those weaknesses and then correct it. So Ashok ji, for you, this is the right time for you to model your business in the right way and get your team together and ask every single person to write down challenges that he faces in his role. Do not neglect, don't say no to those challenges. Say yes, acknowledge it, and then figure out a solution. You will be surprised with the kind of solutions that people can come up with. We had done a session like this for one of our clients who's into LED business. He sells LEDs, and we had done this session in Alibag, and it was brilliant. It was just brilliant. I wish he was here on this call. I'm not sure if he is, because he did join the group. So shout out Viral Bhai, if you are here, please put a thumbs up. I'm looking for you. I guess he's not here. So that's what I would suggest, Ashok ji. This is the right time. You're thinking in the right direction, and this is the right time for you to go ahead and do it. So I have Ria Kanal. I need help in taking on marketing for my menswear tech company. Currently, you need to be showcasing why you are the best person. I answered this. Yes, Viral Bhai, you are there. Viral Bhai, I remembered the Alibag session that we did with your team. And I was just suggesting somebody to do the same session for their team. I'm hoping that you enjoyed that session, and you had good things that came out of that session. And Ashok ji, you should do that. That was superb, is what Viral Bhai says. Thank you, Viral Bhai. Appreciate you coming to this group, and absolutely love your presence here. So with that, I would like to conclude this call. I hope I have been able to add value to what your questions were. If you have more questions, on this group itself, there is an Excel sheet, there's a Google Sheet link that we had pasted. We can repost that again in the announcement. If you have questions, put those questions there and I will come back and answer to those questions. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, then there is another post that we've put. In fact, I'd run a poll and a lot of you said that you wanted to talk to me one-on-one. So if you want to talk to me one-on-one, just call up on that number, book the slot. I will be more than happy to practice what I love. So I'm doing this for myself also, and of course there is no charge for this. It's absolutely 100% free, and that's how we are going to do it. There is obviously there is a offer that I also am running. I'm not trying to sell here, but this is something that will help all of you. The business modeling that I'm talking about, there is a small online course. It's a crash course that has been created. We had to price that because without pricing that, I would not be able to cover the cost of hosting that online. But it's a throwaway price. Go take that course if you feel you want assistance in thinking through your business in an organized manner. We will put that link as well for you to take help with that course. We are also I'm also willing to give out unlimited number of Q&A sessions to clear your doubts, because it's a crash course. I did it sitting right here, and I'm sure that the course is not detailed. It's a crash course. It's 1 hour 45 minutes course. So you will have questions, and I'm more than happy to assist you without charging an extra buck for it. I want all of you guys to stay healthy, survive and grow your business post the lockdown period. Be safe, be healthy, and keep propelling.